Hi, my name is Enrique Torres, and here at Empower Brokerage, we have different solutions for our clients and our agents. So specifically for agents, to be informed about insurability. Most of you are probably familiar with that already, but just to go over a little bit more in detail what to look out for. So many times we have individuals calling, or agents have people calling them, where they wanted to get some coverage and find out that they are not able to get the coverage itself. And because of this, it may be because of their health, or it could be because of their height and weight, or it may be a family history. So there's a lot of things that come into play when it comes to insurability. Well, let me start with something I think that's going to be pretty simple. So if someone has a newborn baby, and for the most part we think that those babies are healthy, well, quite frankly, if a parent wanted to get life insurance within a couple of weeks, then for the most part, they are insurable. But once they go to their doctor, their pediatrician for their baby checkup, and it's discovered they have something, impairment, heart valve, it could be disease, whatever it may be. God forbid that happens, but it does happen. But if they're diagnosed, the baby, well then they're diagnosed and now they are uninsurable if they are diagnosed with something that's serious. So they're not able to get any type of life insurance, and I'm talking about life insurance here. So now, using that same example, so over the course of time, as an individual, if we're healthy, our body mass index, our height and weight is in the right parameters. In other words, we're not too big for our height, then for insurance purposes, we're able to get life insurance coverage. But as over time, if we gain too much weight or pick up some bad habits, then the insurance companies will consider someone who is a certain height over a certain weight as uninsurable, or maybe even rated. It could also be something as a diagnosed with cancer. So someone who's an adult later in years, they get a diagnosis and it's a pretty aggressive type of cancer diagnosis. Well, that's another example that the person may not be able to get life insurance. And then the other thing that I've come across is where somebody did have life insurance, and then over 20, 15, 30 years, whatever it may be, their life insurance expires or is at the end of the term that they got it for. And let's just say, for an example, that person is, say, 65 years old and their 30-year term just finished up, and they never did exercise the conversion feature of that policy. And conversion means to a permanent policy, to convert to a permanent policy. So I get those phone calls where, well, now the person who was in perfect health when they got the coverage, but now they may be a little bit bigger, or they may have picked up smoking, or they have diabetes, type 2, or they have cancer, as I mentioned a moment ago. So now at the end of their term, and now they're 65, 66 years old, and they're not able to get coverage, and they're uninsurable. Well, what's important about all of this here? So the reason we get life insurance for babies is to lock in their insurability. So over time, they can continue with that coverage. Potentially it can increase in coverage or even increase in cash value. Many parents want to get life insurance for young children for building up some college funding. Not all of the college funding, but some of the college funding using permanent insurance. When it comes to a young adult, say in their 30s, and they get term insurance, well, they may also want to consider a permanent policy for the same reason, such as building up cash value or building up the coverage. Once more, if you're not able to get these solutions, then this is one thing you're not able to take advantage of as far as the coverage for your family. Should you pass away when you're a young adult and you have children at home, you have a mortgage, you have student debt, etc. So that purpose is to pay off that debt, take care of the family. As we get older in life, the reason for having life insurance to have coverage is that if you pass away, these are the type of phone calls I get, by the way, they want for final expense. Final expense being for funeral, cremation, religious services, etc. So many times the seniors want coverage, and they want to make sure that they have that in place, the life insurance, so that way their family doesn't have that burden of having to take care of those final expense. Well, I may have gone all over the place with this specific topic, but the point is insurability. That way you're able to get that life insurance coverage, maintaining the coverage throughout the lifetime, benefits such as cash value or death benefit to leave something behind for your family or to take care of final expense. Or as I mentioned earlier, one of the things we can use it for is for the cash value for college planning. That's one reason to maintain your insurability. That doesn't mean that you're not able to get coverage later on, because some things may be, as far as your health changing, if at one time you were, say, for example, diagnosed with cancer and you've had your treatment and you're in remission, and depending on the type of cancer, because different cancers have different aggressiveness, if you will. So if somebody's been cancer-free for 5-10 years, well, many carriers will consider them once more because they maintain their health, they've been going to their doctor. So if they're fairly young, then the insurance companies will insure that risk. So once more, that individual can get coverage for some of the reasons I mentioned a moment ago. So again, insurability, if you're able to get the coverage, get it now. If for whatever reason you're not able to get it, but ask your agent if you're able to get insurance down the road later on in life, and what are the steps to take to get your coverage, then follow those recommendations. So that way you may have that coverage in place down the road. If you have any questions about this topic, feel free to call me or anyone here at Empower Brokerage at 888-539-1633.